You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, I've got your early weekly spoilers for June 16th through the 20th. Looks like EJ may be devastated, but Hope is absolutely ecstatic. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. If you're not following, hit that subscribe button. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what is coming the rest of this week. Let's get into it. On Wednesday, June 11th, John's funeral continues. We are going to see Sean there to console Belle, who obviously is grieving and beside herself. She didn't want EJ supporting her. Her family hates the guy, and she's already heard from family members like her brother Brady that they do not think any relationship between EJ and Belle is sustainable or acceptable. I think Eric's doing a great job of officiating the funeral. I also really enjoyed hearing Brady sing. You know, you forget that Eric Martsolf is a musician because it's not something we see him doing on the show, but he has an extraordinary voice, and he's in that band, the Day Players, along with, the Stephen DiMera actor and Johnny DiMera actor. All three of those guys are in the Day Players. It's really nice seeing the array of people that Days brought back for the funeral, considering I know they're on strict budgetary constraints. Carrie, Paul, Shane, and Andrew, Sean, Sean and Belle are around, and Steve's around already, but it's a nice group. Poor little Rachel is so upset. The new actress is doing a really nice job with the grief. Johnny opens up to Chanel about his worries. He's feeling quite unworthy of being John Black's namesake, and I wonder if Chanel's going to bring up the adoption and beg him to reconsider, telling him he is worthy of that name. Meanwhile, Bo absolutely rejects his doctor's orders and heads to Salem because he wants to be at the funeral, and Hope is going to be at his side. Bo shows up in sweats, fresh off a plane, not even in a suit, and he's going to greet Marlena at the graveside service area. Bo needs to tell Marlena how sorry he is that John made this sacrifice, and wants to let Marlena know that she has Bo's gratitude forever. Thursday, June 12th, we have Tony DiMera back in Salem and reunited with his precious wife, Anna DiMera, who made it back a couple of days ago. There's going to be a wake that kicks off after John Black's funeral. Should be over at the Brady Pub with Roman hosting everybody as they get together to toast and talk and reminisce. Marlena's friends and family are there to continue supporting her and honoring John's heroism, not just in saving Bo Brady, but for decades and in many instances. Plus, Bo is pressing on Steve Johnson to change his mind about something. And if you remember, Steve told Kayla the other day he was going to disband Black Patch because his partner is gone. So that might be what Bo is trying to get him to change his mind about. And, maybe it's something about honor his memory, but don't stop what you're doing. Bring in somebody else. Rafe's been off doing FBI stuff, but maybe he could, partner up with Steve. Plus, Hope spends time chatting with Julie and Jennifer. We know Abby's death is still hitting Jen hard, and Hope and Julie still aren't over losing Doug. That's the dad, that's the husband, and now they're all having to say goodbye to John. So they're all sharing in this grief process and just talking about all the losses they've had. And of course, Bo's return is a miracle that offsets it ever so slightly. And then Hope is telling Julie how excited she is for Bo to walk through the door and how she still gets butterflies when she sees him. Their romance is back on, which is great news. Jack goes to pay respects at his daughter Abigail's grave, but it's bittersweet because he knows her remains are not there, and he feels like Abby is not resting in peace. This is really bothering Jack. Friday, June 13th, we've got Belle struggling to confess something to EJ. Now, we know that Belle loves him. She has told him, and EJ, returns the sentiment, but Belle may be calling it quits for good with EJ. Xander is arguing with Sarah about their daughter, Victoria, on Friday. I wonder if Sarah is withholding visits now that he has been arrested, even though he's out on bail for the attack on Philip. Sean tells Jada he is really sorry. I wonder if we're going to get Sean back with Belle or if we're going to have more Sean-Jada action. I'll let you know if I hear anything on that. Alex and Stephanie enjoy some romance, but will Alex tell Stephanie that he gave her book to Kate? And speaking of Roman's wife, Kate is back at the hospital at her son Philip's bedside, begging him to please wake up, and that happens soon. The week of June 16th through the 20th, we're going to see if EJ fights Belle, if she tries to put some distance between herself, because EJ does love her. Despite what her family says, he thinks they can work things out. But I just can't imagine Belle wanting to irritate grieving Marlena in any way right now by being with EJ. So maybe it's not a breakup. Maybe it's a temporary break. We'll see. But speaking of EJ, his other ex, Sammy Brady, will be back, I think, next month in July. Allison Sweeney said she couldn't get away from other projects to come film the John funeral scenes, but she said Sammy is coming back to Salem soon and will have some kind things to say to Marlena about John. Speaking of, Marlena is really struggling with her grief next week now that all the business of the burial and all that is gone and done. It's all sinking in. It's cold comfort that John died a hero because the bottom line is that he is gone. Marlena obviously wouldn't take back Bo and Hope's miracle, but she misses John fiercely and is spiraling into grief. Philip is pulling out of his coma-esque medical situation soon. He is recovering from the injuries Xander gave him and will recover fully. Kate wants her son healthy so that Philip can testify against Xander, but Philip may push back on his mom. Bo and Hope may not be sticking around for too long, but at least they're back together and Bo is back to being himself. Also, don't forget, we've got a wedding coming for Andrew Donovan and Paul Narita, and I'm sure John will be toasted at the wedding and remembered there. His son Paul obviously will wish his dad was there on his big day. He was very supportive of Andrew and Paul. Out-of-town guests began trickling back out of Salem, but a lot of them are going to be back in November, by the way, for the stunning 60th anniversary episodes and plots associated with that. I am really hoping we're going to get to see a conversation between Kat and Shane Donovan where Days explains that director thing she said to him when she passed by at the funeral. That was bizarre. EJ's shooting is going to come back onto the front burner, as does Xander potentially facing the music for pummeling Philip nearly to death. Plus, Sarah and Xander's marital issues get worse. Little Rachel still has more to say about the night Uncle EJ was shot, and Chanel may press about adopting Tate and Sophia's baby that is due very soon. Watch for Doug 3's money problems to put at least one life at risk in Salem and possibly more.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.